Okay, next step, I'm going to start the drawing. To begin the drawing, our drawing is going to be laid out pretty similar to the other drawings, our CO2 car drawings and those kind of things. First thing that I'm going to do, just like always, I'm going to measure 1/2 inch all the way around my paper on all 4 sides, 1/2 inch in 4 places. Okay, remember, I'm going to bring the ruler up and I'm going to show you 0. There's the 1/2 inch mark right there. Please make sure that you get this border laid out correctly. Then the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to draw my horizontal lines, top, bottom border lines. Remember the T-square. Make sure you keep that T-square tight against the side. Then I'm going to use T-square and 60-30 angle to draw my vertical lines. Remember your border, you want that nice and dark. Go there to there. So I'll only have a couple lines to clean up. Here and here. I'm going to come back. I don't have an eraser shield handy, so I want you to make sure that you use your eraser shield. But I'm going to come in. Here it is. I found my eraser shield. I'm going to use it. So use the eraser shield. Clean up your corners. Keep them looking nice and neat. It's one of the things I'm going to grade you on by this point in the class. You should be able to know how to make a nice, clean drawing. So I'm here and here. So now I've got my border, my horizontal and vertical borders. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to lay out my title block. Remember title block. I want you laying it out in 1/8 of an inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8 of an inch. 5/8 of an inch. That's every 2/16. I'm going to come in and I'm going to count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8. Make a nice dark line there because that's going to be the top of my title block. Then I'm going to lay out every 1/8 of an inch. Remember, the light lines are going to be the lines that I'm going to letter on, do my lettering on. I'm going to draw a nice dark line for the top of my title block, and then the rest of these I'm going to draw them nice and light just so I can get my lettering done. Remember, as we work through this, if you need to pause the movie to get caught up, you can do that. And the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to measure in. I'm going to measure in from this left-hand side 3.5 inches for a vertical division, and I'm going to go this side over 1, 2, 3.5 inches for a vertical division. And I'm going to use an angle, and I'm going to draw these lines. Oops. I'm going to draw these lines nice and dark, there and there. Center, just label this pegboard. Remember, I'm looking for nice, clean, drafting quality lettering. I'm going to put the date in here. I'm going to put the scale. I'm going to talk a little bit about the scale here. My scale on this drawing is going to be different than we've done in the past. I'm going to have a 1/2 inch equals 1 inch. I want to talk about that for just a second. What I want to do is I want to explain something. I'm going to make, you have to, on this evaluation sheet, down here at the bottom, it talks about specifications for your pegboard. Now, if you look right up here, specifications for this board, it can be anywhere from 6 to 10 inches wide on your board. That means the individual pieces that you glue up, anywhere from 6 to 10 inches. If you go under 6 or over 10 inches, I'm going to be taking points off. For the width of the board, you can go from 12 to 16. I would keep it in 2-inch increments, so you can go 12, 14, 16, 6, 8, 10. If you go under 12 or over 16, I'm taking points off. I want to make sure that you know how to make a drawing and follow that drawing. Now, obviously, 16 inches is not, or 12, even 12 inches is not going to fit on this piece of paper. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my dimensions and I'm going to divide them in half. That's where I get the 1/2 inch equals 1 inch. All of the measurements that I put on this piece of paper on my drawing are going to be to a half scale. That means it's going to be a half. I'm going to make my board the maximum size. I'm going to lay it out to be 10 inches by 16 inches, which means I'm going to draw it onto the paper 5 inches by 8 inches. All I'm doing is drawing to the half scale, and you'll see what I mean as I go along. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up my title block, and then I will stop this, and then we will go on with part 3. When you put your name, please make sure you put your last name, comma, first initial, and nice drafting quality lettering. And the course here is wood processes. We've gone away from drafting, and now we're actually making drawings to take into the wood lab and work on it. Okay, step number 1, just like on all of our drawings, we need a starting point over here. Remember, I do not want you drawing right up to the border. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure in a half an inch. That's a pretty common measurement, and it works pretty well on most drawings. And I'm going to measure up a half an inch. Now remember, for this starting point, I'm going to draw these lines nice and light, because later on I may want to come back and clean those up, erase them and clean them up. Okay, then I'm going to get my 60-30 angle, and I'm going to draw that vertical line. I'm going to draw it nice and light. So now I have this guideline and this guideline as drawing points, and I stay well away from my borders. Right there is going to start off being the lower left-hand corner of my pegboard when I lay it out at 5 inches high by 8 inches wide, which when I build it, remember, is going to be double that. It's going to be 10 by 16. Okay? Now we'll go to the next section.